with your host, the ConKaiserdor, and old school Avis Hathaway. Pin me, pay me, do your job. Pin me, pay me, do your job. Pin me, pay me, do your job. Pin me, pay me, do your job.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another exciting, outstanding, and just the best hour of radio talk, wrestling, the Do Your Job Wrestling Hour. I am the ConKaiserdor. Alongside me is the jobber of jobbers, old school Avis Hathaway. Hey there, bud. How's it hanging tonight?
It's hanging low as always. I think I'm the jobber to the jobbers.
You are a guy. You certainly are, and I'm glad they're hanging low, bud, because we got a big show tonight. So hopefully, as the show goes on, they will get higher and higher.
You never know what'll happen. You never know on this wrestling hour what is going to happen.
Absolutely, guys. This is the fastest and greatest hour of pro wrestling talk in the world. The Do Your Job Wrestling Hour on blogtalkradio.com/doyourjob. You can call into the show, 714-694-4101. Also, tweet us, follow us at Twitter at doyourjob_ J.O.B. And also, the new and improved Facebook with the new Facebook link at facebook.com/doyourjob. Just don't forget those periods between J.O.B. Got a big show tonight, bud. We have a indie wrestler out of Georgia going to join us at about 9:15, and that is Dab Savage. Are you excited tonight for the show?
Yeah, I am. We've been trying to book guests as often as we can. I think this is another in a line of great guests that we've had. We're going to talk a little bit about him, how he got started, and maybe talk a little wrestling with him. Maybe a little WWE, TNA, who knows? Blog Talk Radio is actually working right for once. So I'm excited for this show. I think it's going to be a good one.
Absolutely. I'm very excited. No technical difficulties this week, so always a plus. So thumbs up for that. And it's going to be a great show. We're going to get into a little bit of wrestling news here. But, before we get into some wrestling news, I just wanted to say I've been very upset. My Miami Heat lost yet again today to Chicago. And, I'm losing faith, bud. It's tough to keep your head up when your team really can't hold a win. They're winning the game, but in the fourth quarter, it's like they just give the game away.
Well, the thing with the Heat is this. They haven't looked very good. I actually watched the game against the Knicks, and they had that game in hand and handed it over on a platter. And everybody's real down on the Heat right now, though. Oh, the Heat, how about overrated? They're not living up to the hype. They're overrated. They're done, blah, 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 blah. They're not looking so good. I think they need a better big man, but everybody forgets they're going to have Haslam coming back. And when you insert Haslam into that lineup, I challenge any fan of the Bulls, Spurs, Celtics, so on and so forth. Is that really a team you want to play in the playoffs? That's all I'll say.
Right.
A team that has LeBron, has Wade.
And, of course, the recently signed Mike Bibby.
Yeah, and Bibby's a good player, man. He had a good run with the Kings. He did well with the Hawks.
Oh, yeah. But now he's on the Heat, it's a whole other story. But, just wanted to mention that, because, a lot of people always say, when your team wins, you always talk about it, but when your team loses, you don't say a word. I'm not that fan. Even when my team loses, I own up to it. They're certainly not doing so well right now, but the playoffs is like a completely different season. So it's a best of seven. Not you beat me once and it's over. So let's get into some pro wrestling talk, shall we?
Let's do it.
All right, well, let's kick things off, guy. I want to kind of kick things off with a unfortunate release, but maybe fortunate because it seems he may have asked for his release here. It sounds like he did. One Shark Boy of TNA no longer with the company, guy. I'm kind of bummed about that. I'm a big Shark Boy mark.
Well, you and I both we're both huge fans of the Shark Boy, and maybe down the line we'll try to track him down, see if we can get him on the show and see what the deal was. He hasn't really been used. He hadn't been on TV much. He was wrestling, doing some jobs on the Indies, not on the Indies. I'm sorry, on TNA house shows lately, but he hasn't really been on TV. But come on, the Shark Bite, you gotta love him.
Absolutely, Guy. I mean, Shark Boy with his whole 24/7, and I kind of miss the whole Shark Boy gimmick. I really did enjoy when he was tagging with Curry Man in TNA. I thought they had some good chemistry, and he also is a referee too. So hopefully, we'll see Shark Boy again, and I think that's a big loss to TNA. I really did like the Shark Boy gimmick, and they could have done some comedy with that. I think that's one thing TNA doesn't capitalize on is that whole comedy piece, that whole light humor a la WWE, although I know they try to be different, but you need that element. I don't think people really find Orlando Jordan and Eric Young's shtick to be really funny.
No, and I mean, Eric Young, he's definitely got some talent, but Orlando Jordan, man, I don't even know what he's doing on TV.
Yeah, I'm not too sure either, but yep. So that's kind of what happened in TNA with the departure of one Shark Boy. Also, WWE has been in negotiations with someone you may know better than I do, the cyborg Chris Santos, Strikeforce. She's a women's middleweight champion. What's she all about?
She is. Well, what I'm curious about is she has been supposedly, it's been reported she's been in negotiations with WWE. Now, I don't know if this is for like a one-time shot or, an actual contract. I'm a big MMA fan. I think we've talked about this before. This woman is a beast, an absolute beast. She's not real big. I think she's the 145-pound champion for Strikeforce, which is an MMA promotion based out of San Jose. She is just an absolute wrecking machine. She's walked through the fighters they've put in front of her, and apparently she's been a little upset because they haven't had any good fights for her. They haven't set up any fights for her. She came in and they set up a huge fight against a fighter by the name of Gino Carano, who's great. She was a great fighter in her own right. She was unbeaten, and she just marched right through her. If the WWE were to sign this woman, I'm not a big fan of the Divas division, but I would be excited to see this because she's not a real good-looking woman. She's not real big. Like I said, she's about 145, which is, most of the Divas aren't real big. But she's a wrecking ball. And, I mean, she would definitely bring some spice to that division.
I think it's really hard to find a beautiful woman who's as massive and big as Chris Santos or even as an Awesome Kong. I mean, sure, I think sometimes they got to bite the bullet and just pick someone, sign somebody who's a good wrestler, who's going to really boost that division and make it relevant so people actually want to care about it again.
Yeah, I mean, she's I don't know how much of a wrestling background she has. She comes out of the Shootbox Academy in Brazil, which is known for their striking gym. But she's, like I said, she's just going to bring, if they bring her in, even if it's just on a short-term basis, she's going to bring some spice to that division because I tell you what, there's a lot of guys in MMA that she could probably beat.
Oh, I'm sure there is. Now, I don't know too much about her. As you know, I'm not big into MMA, so I really don't know much about her, which is also good. If you're a wrestling fan, don't know much about her, if she does sign with the WWE and does debut, it'll make things interesting, because you don't really know who she is and what she's about. It's always nice to see some fresh faces involved because you get tired of seeing Lay Cool every week and, some of the same divas over and over again. But I did like how they've turned Rosa Mendez a face, which I'm a big Rosa fan. I think she has a good look. It's nice to see them finally do something with Rosa Mendez. I think she's got some potential, but, hey, man, we'll see what happens. Things will be heating up sooner than we know. So in a few minutes here, we're going to have Georgia indie wrestler Dab Savage live with us on the Do Your Job Wrestling Hour. You don't want to miss it here. One thing I want to get into, Guy, here's something that's really been on my mind and really kind of bugging me that I've noticed about TNA. When it comes to, like, WWE, when they have somebody coming out when their music hits, they allow them to get some heat or a pop. Do you ever notice that when they cue the music, the wrestler doesn't start talking right away?
Oh yeah, they come down, they garner the boos, they garner the cheers, whatever it may be, and they play it very well. Sometimes they overplay it though, like Triple H did when he came back the other week. He waited like 5 minutes before he started talking, and the chants had pretty well died down.
Oh, absolutely. And I think sometimes they could just do it way too long. But when you watch TNA, dude, they don't even have a second to let the music finish playing. I mean, it barely even gets started before they just start talking over the music, and they'll be in the middle of cutting a promo towards the end, and the music hits, and you can't even catch the last 10 seconds of the promo. I'm not sure why they have this itch to cue their music so quickly and not allow their guys to get either some cheap heat or a cheap pop here and there.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's
just something that's been on my mind. Just want to throw it out there.
No, I mean, it's definitely a good point.
Yeah, just always been wondering that there. Also, getting back to a former WWE star, formerly of the tag team Crime Time, Shad Gaspard was arrested. Did you hear about that?
I did. I heard it had something to do with jaywalking, resisting arrest, something like that. It doesn't really strike me as too out of the blue because he's got a little bit of a rap sheet as it was. But I mean, if it's really something like jaywalking, that's pretty ridiculous.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, if he was just jaywalking, that's why they arrested him. I mean, certainly if it was anybody else, just some random, Joe Blow, I don't think it would have maybe even wrestling you. But we're going to take a quick break. When we come back here, we're going to be live on the air with Georgia indie wrestler Dab Savage. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to the Do Your Job Wrestling Hour on blogtalkradio.com/doyourjob. Let's welcome to the Do Your Job Wrestling Hour. Waiting in the ring with us is Dab Savage. What's going on there, Mr. Savage?
What's up, baby? How y'all doing tonight?
We're doing quite well, quite well. It's good to have you on the show. We've been looking forward to this interview. And it's going to be a great evening here. So it's good to have you on, man. How are things going?
Man, going well down here. I'm down here in Georgia. I'm from Albany, Georgia. So recovering from a little Mardi Gras shindig last night. So I'm not in typical rambunctious savage form, but we'll still have a good interview, man. How you guys doing tonight?
We're doing great. We're pumped up. We're excited for the interview. Had a little bit of a celebration myself last night as well, so I can certainly sympathize.
I was in Harley Davidson mode last night. I rocked the bandana and the Harley Davidson shirt and the Mardi Gras beads, and then that was daytime, and then we went down. For some reason, a couple of my buddies were like, "Well, put on your wrestling stuff, dude. Let's go downtown in your wrestling gear." So, believe it or not, I went to downtown Albany in my leather pants and some blue leopard print silk shirt, and sort of did a little self promotion. It turned out good.
Very nice. Very nice.
Don't think I made a lot of male friends last night, though.
But you were in true Dad Savage form, so that's all that counts here.
Exactly.
So it's great to have you on the show there, man. Looking forward to the interview, and we know that you've done some wrestling with Dynasty Championship Wrestling in Georgia, and we kind of want to get into, I know that you have done some work on the Indies, both in Georgia and also I know in Alabama. I also kind of want to find out where else you've kind of wrestled at, but I also know you had a dark match with TNA, if I'm not mistaken. So, getting into how your career started, and we'll kind of get to those points. How did you get into the wrestling business?
I just like anybody else, as a kid, I grew up loving wrestling, and it was weird in my house. I was raised mostly by, my mom and dad were divorced, and so it was my mom, my sister, and So I had to hide watching wrestling as a kid. And and then mid-'90s, 96, 97, NWO, and when wrestling really got hot, I got into it and did all the research, and it was always a hoop dream. I always wanted to go to wrestling school, and just never really happened. And about 4 years ago, I met a guy named Ted Allen. He was big around here. He actually trained Arn Anderson and stuff. The Nightmare Ted Allen, real big in Georgia. Got to work a little bit with him. I'm not gonna say he trained me. I got in the ring with him a few times, and we just basically talked wrestling for a while, and that was it. That was the extent of it. And so about a year went by, and just nothing. I hadn't really pursued it, and so I met this guy who was actually through Facebook. It was crazy. He saw some pictures of mine, from wrestling shows, and we started talking. And anyway, come find out, he trained with Dory Funk Jr. and he had a ring in his house and stuff. And so I went by there, and man, we'd go balls to the wall, 5 or 6 times a week for about 6 months, and went out and had my first match, and that's how it started, brother.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Well, it's very interesting to always hear how people got into the wrestling business. Everyone kind of has their own unique story of how they got into it there. So very cool, man. Very cool. Another question I wanted to ask you is, I do know that you wrestled a dark match for TNA. How did that come about, and what was the end result of that opportunity?
Well, end result is 5'10" and not 6'4". But no, seriously, it was they did a thing online where you send in a video and some pictures and like a little about me kind of deal. And anyway, they picked like 10 guys out of the U.S. to come down there, and it was actually in the Impact. We did, and it was over a course of a few days, and I got to wrestle with D'Lo Brown, and actually got to work the guy who's now, I don't know if you guys keep up with TNA as much as WWE, but there's a guy on there now named Crimson, he's like Kurt Angle's bodyguard. Crimson, yeah. Tommy Mercer's his name. Him and I actually worked a match with him, and it went well. I mean, he actually, he ended up, they ended up using him on TV and that kind of stuff, but it went well. D'Lo, I guess, is like the head of talent coordinations and stuff, so I got his email address and stuff, and I'm gonna put together in the next few months another video package to send to him. So keep your fingers crossed, brother. You might be seeing me on Thursday nights here before too long.
We actually have a question out of our chat room from Y2 Jibber Jabber. He wants to know if it was safe to wrestle D'Lo.
Well, he did not hit me with a frog splash or a DDT. So yeah, I felt okay. He was in street clothes. If he would have gone to the top rope, I probably would have maneuvered my way to the outside and gotten disqualified or something. After draws, I'm it's funny. That was, the whole time I was in the ring, that's all I could think about. It's kind of sad, but.
Yeah, I would imagine that.
You're listening to the Do Your Job Wrestling Hour. We are live with Dab Savage, Georgia indie wrestler here. Old school, bud. Go ahead and knock some out here, bud.
Well, actually, my next question is, I know you wrestled in a tag team with Johnny Romano, a tag team called The Hype. I know you've done some singles action as well. Which do you prefer? Do you prefer doing the tag team thing, or are you like doing the singles thing a little bit better?
Actually, it's a tough question. Tag team's really cool because it takes a lot of pressure off of you, and because you've got somebody there, to go in there with, and in the Hype, we were real over the top, but honestly, I'll kind of segue into this. The reason we got started with that is I had a real bad injury about a year ago. I tore my rotator cuff completely off the bone in a match, and doing the tag team stuff, doing the Hype stuff was real cool. Got me but it also kept me where I could still come out and do, be a part of a show without having to go in there and, go 20 minutes or, and take a bunch of bumps and stuff like that. So, but, and you guys being wrestling fans and keeping up with businesses, as sad as it is, the tag team wrestling has kind of lost its luster. And so I feel as far as from a marketing perspective, as far as, build yourself, get yourself over, I just think you have a lot more opportunities as a single star than you do a tag team.
Yeah, definitely.
And in the 80s and 90s, that was where it was at with tag team wrestling. Tag team wrestling could may have been a pay-per-view, and now it's I don't even know is it Kozlov and who are the tag team champs in WWE now?
I think it's Heath Slater and Heath Slater and excuse me, Justin Gabriel. Like, they don't really have too many real tag teams anymore. I guess the Usos are about it. Used to be like you said. I think they're
not really doing much with those guys. When they first came out, I was kind of excited about them. They had a cool look, and they're both good in the ring, and they had I guess they're third generation guys or whatever. But they haven't. They just kind of dropped the ball with them. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean it's. I remember back in the days when SummerSlam, you used to see pay-per-views like SummerSlam headlined by, the Hart Foundation versus the Rockers, or the British Bulldogs. There's a real emphasis on tag team wrestling, and that really has gone by the wayside, which is kind of sad.
Yeah, and even sooner, more recent than that, back when you had Edge and Christian and the Hardy Boys and the Dudley Boys, main event and pay-per-views. It's just weird how it's just sort of fallen off the map. But it is what it is, and I'll probably still do some tag team things, but I'm running with the Dab Savage, so the hype's gonna have to be on the back burner for now. So
now, is there anybody out there in the singles world that you'd like to be able to book a match with anytime soon? Is there anybody you're looking forward to on the horizon?
I worked Chase Stevens last weekend. He was in TNA. I was part of the Naturals. We had a really good match. It was really cool. He was real professional. It was really good to work with him. So down the road I might maybe do some more stuff with him. This company that I'm working with now, the DCW out of Columbus, I'm sort of with indies it's different. You have the opportunity to go pretty much wherever you want. Nobody can say, oh, you can't get wrestled here or whatever. But I don't know, they got a real good thing going down there, and so I'm sort of right now. I mean, I guess the word loyal would be a good word to use. I'm gonna kind of stick with them, for the most part, and just kind of see where we go from there. I kind of want to help them. They've been real good to me, and I sort of want to help them, in any way I can, as far as getting them to grow. And they're looking at getting a TV deal here in the next few months. So, I don't know. Yeah, it's and they get some pretty good names there too. Like stars from the past, like Wildfire Tommy Rich works there some. Ricky Morton from the Rock and Roll Express. So. I'm kind of looking forward to maybe getting in the ring with maybe an old legend, just for nostalgia reasons and for learning and stuff like that. So, we shall see. We shall see.
Well, we do have a kind of an odd question, and we do get these from time to time because we have quite a group that jumps into the chat room here. It's getting quite hot right now, but one of the questions, and this is I don't know how personal of a question this is, but it sounds like it's too personal. I would probably answer this question if somebody asked me. But the question is, and of course this is Y2 Jibber Jabber, one of our devoted, loyal, you talked about loyal, this guy is a loyal follower to the show. He wants to know if Dad Savage shaves or waxes.
Oh, God.
Well, Y2 Jibber Jabber, Dad Savage is definitely a shaver. If I I'm not gonna lie, I'll never lie, but I sort of got that HBK 97 chest hair rocking thing going. I think if I had to wax, I'd probably end up ripping my skin off. So I'm a shaver, and a lot of it, it's completely outside, but a lot of it just sort of depends on what kind of mood I'm in. If I'm, I'm typically sort of a jerk when it comes to wrestling and stuff like that. So a lot of times I'll rock the hairy chest, and then just I don't know if the diet's been good and I got a nice tan or whatever. A lot of times I'll shave.
Well, as long as you don't come out looking like a Prince Albert or anything like that, I think you'll be good.
I've always wanted to. I've always wanted to maybe shave my opponent's name in my chest, with an arrow point down or something. I think that'd be kind of cool.
CM Punk was rocking that chest hair for a while too.
Yeah, it'll certainly get people talking once it hit YouTube, that's for sure. But you're listening to the Do Your Job Wrestling Hour on blogtalkradio.com/doyourjob. We're live with Dad Savage. You can call into the show, 714-694-4101. Jump into the chat room. It's heating up. Post your questions. Tweet us, DoYourJob_the-team J.O.B. And like us on Facebook at the Do Your Job Wrestling Hour, periods between J.O.B. So, Dab, I have another question here for you. This question here is directly from me. My question is this. Now, I know that you are, in the business. You're now, indie wrestler and what have you. But I also know you're probably a fan of wrestling, of course. Have you been kind of paying attention to the build-up to WrestleMania?
Oh, for sure. I mean, with WrestleMania, I only live 3 hours from Atlanta, so I will be at WrestleMania for sure. And and
awesome.
And to me, Raw has been, for the last, I'd even say for the last couple of months, has been to me the best it's been in a really, really long time.
I absolutely agree.
And also the one
going on.
Yeah, there has been. And I'm sure there's probably one thing above all you might be pretty excited for being a Georgia man, and that's the induction of one Bullet Bob Armstrong into the Hall of Fame this year.
Yeah. I've gotten to meet Bullet Bob several times. Was actually going to wrestle Bullet Bob about a year ago at a charity show here in Georgia. And he faked a knee injury the day of the show. I guess he had heard all the hype about how great Dab Savage was, and he didn't. So he sent his two sons instead. So ended up having to wrestle Steve and somebody. But no, seriously. In all seriousness, I hate the fact that I didn't get to work him. Just for nostalgia reasons, it would have been awesome to say that I got to wrestle Bullet Bob, but I'm definitely excited about that. More importantly, huge. You can probably tell by my persona and my outfits and stuff like that. I'm a huge Shawn Michaels fan. And so, when I was watching Raw a couple months ago, and his music hit and came out, I was freaking. I was had an anxiety attack, because that was one of those things I've always said, when Shawn goes to the Hall of Fame, I don't care if it's in Canada, I was going, and the fact that it's basically my backyard is definitely something I'm looking forward to. I would definitely have my box of Kleenexes for sure.
I agree. I'm actually a huge Shawn Michaels mark. I mean, ever since I was a little kid, I have been. So we actually talked about this a few weeks ago, whether it was too soon for him to go in, and I absolutely said no way. I mean, because he's one of the best, the biggest and best ever, if you ask me.
Just gonna say, I don't even think it's, the argument you get is, Flair, is the way me and my buddies always talked about it is it's 1A and 1B. I'd say Shawn's 1A, Flair's 1B. I just think from a performance, a character, and I guess, I'm 27 now, so growing up, I remember being in middle school and just thinking Shawn Michaels was so fucking, I thought he was so cool, and I was like, man, that's like the alpha male. That's like what a dude's supposed to be, he was so smooth with the ladies, he was so good on the mic, and he's so good in the ring, and just in the way that, he's like a feel good story, man. I mean, just like the the stuff he went through, and then he turned his life around, and coming back and, wrestling for 10 more years and having some of the best matches of his career.
Well, I would say,
amazing,
I would say the matches the past 2 years he had with The Undertaker at WrestleMania, I mean, after the back injuries he's had and everything, two of the best matches I've ever seen.
Oh, yeah, or the one with Jericho. Was incredible. And hell, one of my favorite ones is his first match back, the street fight with Triple H from SummerSlam 2002. We wrestled in Blue Jeans, hadn't been on TV in 5 years, and came out and went 45 minutes with Triple H, and I remember because it was right around my birthday, so my buddies ordered it for my birthday for me. And I remember just being like, every time you take a bump, I would just be like, no. Like, is he going to be okay? But, yeah, he's great. I mean, he's
that's kind of like it is on this show, I'm like the Shawn Michaels, and Avis is like the Marty Jannetty, so that's why we work so well together.
We met Marty Jannetty, and Marty Jannetty is actually a really good guy.
Oh, yeah.
You never thought about being on the show. That really broke my heart.
Yeah, I talk with him. He's mutual friends with. This is that's not like one of these my aunts, brothers, uncles, cousins. But no, he's mutual friends with my brother-in-law's brother-in-law. He lived with them for a little while in Pensacola, and then actually when he moved to Columbus, that's where Marty lives, is Columbus. So he's kind of when I found this out, I'm like let's call him, let's tell him about me, send him some videos, and and so I spoke with him a few times, and we email each other back and forth a little bit. So yeah, he's always been real cool. I hope to maybe be able to do something with him sometime too. Just for
sometimes I see him. I see him on an indie show from time to time. Plus, I'm pretty sure he lives in the Atlanta area, if I'm not mistaken. So that definitely would be cool. The last question I wanted to ask, I'll kind of kick things back over to Avis Hathaway here. The only other question I wanted to ask is, do you think that Triple H is going to be the one to end the Undertaker streak at Mania?
No. And we talk about this all the time. Here's my perspective on this. I think the only way the Undertaker streak ever ends is if he wrestles Cena next year to go 20-0, and Cena turns heel and beats him. I think that's the only way it ends. I figure Shawn couldn't do it twice. Triple H has got maybe 2 years tops more that he's going to be wrestling on TV on a regular basis. If when Orton and WrestleMania, it would have made sense maybe for Orton to do it at WrestleMania 21, when Orton was still kind of, had that legend killer thing and was still kind of, building that whole thing. But to me, it's going to be a great match, and the build-up's, already been awesome, and it's going to continue to get better. But I just don't think it makes sense. I just don't think it. Why does Triple H need to beat The Undertaker? You know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't. Like I said, the promos are great, and Triple H is so good that, he'll make you believe that he's actually going to do it, just like Shawn did. Because, you're sitting there thinking, man, there's no way Shawn's going to lose to him twice, and then, bam, he loses twice. But I just don't. I think if anybody's going to beat him, it's, it'd be, Cena heel turn or somebody that, like an Orton a couple of years ago, they're, building as the future. I don't know. I just don't see it happen.
Yeah, I think he's going to retire with the streak intact. I'd say 20-0 next year in Miami. We got another couple questions in the chat room, actually, from Dabulous Fan. I'm sure one of your fans from Georgia. Wants to know if you have any plans for FCW in Florida.
For what now?
For FCW in Florida. If you have any plans on any ends with them or looking to work there at all.
I have, and I've actually met this may be the Dabulous Fan. I've met a chick mutually through just promoting myself online and doing interviews and things like that. And she she's apparently lives in Tampa, goes to a lot of shows, and she's supposed to be getting me some contact info for some auditions and things like that. And I'm sending some stuff online. I'd love to. That'd be a huge. That'd be huge. And I read somewhere the other day that they're not doing they're not, looking at guys over 30 anymore, and I'm 27 and not getting younger, so I definitely, if I'm gonna make a move, I need to do it now.
Yeah, I have read that.
I guess old school, bud. Your chances have been cut off, huh?
Yeah. I think I'm past my prime, but I'm all right with that. Now, they also want to know, serious question there. They wanted to know how tall you are.
Ooh. Next question. No, I'm just shit. Okay. Well, when I'm announced to the ring, I'm 6 foot. If I'm standing next to a tape measure, I'm 5'10".
You got me beat. Don't feel bad.
We got another oddball question here from the chat room. Some of these questions people don't have the gall to ask over the phone, so the chat room is usually the hottest place to ask. Allison in the chat room wants to know if Dab would ever pose for Playgirl magazine.
Yeah, I mean, Sean did it. Why not?
Thanks for being so with our fans, by the way.
Yeah, I don't know if there's any show.
But the only way I would do it though is if I had a championship belt and I could wear the championship belt. Yeah. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it as a jobber. I got to be a champ. I'm no Playgirl jobber.
The Dabulous fan in the chat room just wants to let you know that you are that they are your number one fan.
All right.
There you go. Since you are on the Do Your Job Wrestling Hour, I want to ask you this question: if you had to do the job to any wrestler in TNA right now, who would it be and why?
Well, I'm actually I'm gonna tell you two, and I'll explain why in just a second. One, and like I said, I'm a big nostalgia guy, would be Sting. Just because I'm from Albany, Georgia, man, and growing up, that's all. Like the WWF was like that TV show that came on Saturday mornings. It wasn't, it wasn't what it is now, and you didn't really get to know the guys because there wasn't internet back then. They didn't do house shows here, but WCW, as you guys probably know, was based out of Atlanta. So I mean, we get house shows. I mean, we had the Great American Bash with here. I mean, we had pay-per-views. We get nitros. We get house shows. So, I mean, like, as a kid and even as, like, a teenager even, WCW was, like, that was it to me, And Sting was the man. So just, basically, Sting was my Shawn Michaels before I got really, really exposed to WWE. So just for that reason, it'd be Sting. But as far as the guy right now, I'm a huge AJ Styles mark. I just think he's awesome, and that would be my other one.
Very nice, very nice. Yeah, I'm a big AJ Styles fan as well. I was going to ask you though, since you did mention Sting, would you prefer the blonde hair surfer Sting or the crow Sting? Just because of the era now, I'd probably go crow Sting, just because I love the blonde hair surfer Sting, but when wrestling really got hot, when the biggest thing in wrestling was Sting, the crow, when's he gonna fight Hogan, when's he gonna talk, for a year that was just so compelling, and so when I think of Sting, I think a lot, of that era. So I'd definitely go crow Sting. No, I wouldn't, but if he wanted to buzz his hair and dye it blonde and wrestle me, I'd be fine with that too.
Were you at all let down when I guess the rumor was that he was going to be the opponent for the Undertaker in the build up with the whole 22111? Were you a little let down? He didn't finally show up in WWE.
Yeah. And just because, and not necessarily because of that would have been such an epic match. And it's just never happened. But I was more, and it's just because I'm selfish. I was more let down that he wasn't going to go to the Hall of Fame in Atlanta, and I wasn't going to get to see it.
Yeah,
really,
I agree. He definitely deserves to be in the Hall of Fame.
He does, and it would have been perfect, with all the history there in Atlanta. It just would have, it would have been nice. But and I still think, I think Sting has gone this long. He's 52 years old. He's never wrestled in WWE, and now I'm certain that he never will. But I do think that he'll work something out where he does like some sort of Legends deal where maybe, he talks on, where they can do a DVD and maybe he'll make a guest appearance and get inducted to the Hall of Fame. I think that will happen within the next 2 years or so.
Yeah, I mean, I think
this thing pretty much killed the whole chance of us ever seeing him wrestle in WWE, which in one way I was let down, but in one way it's kind of like, well, it's kind of like with Shawn. I mean, it always gets back to Shawn, but but it's kind of the same thing with him. Shawn never went to WCW, and so it's kind of like Sting was like, it's like WCW Shawn Michaels, so. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's kind of, in a way, it's kind of cool.
Yeah, man, good stuff here. When you're listening to the Do Your Job Wrestling Hour, we have Dad Savage on the line here. So we'll take just a quick 20-second break here, but don't go anywhere. When we come back, we're going to have the conclusion of the interview with Dad Savage. Don't go anywhere. This is the Do Your Job Wrestling Hour. Welcome back to the Do Your Job Wrestling Hour on blogtalkradio.com/doyourjob. We are live with Dad Savage, indie wrestler out of Georgia. Dad's been a great interview so far, man. A lot of great questions, good answers, and the chat room questions, we should have apologized in advance, but, you never know what to expect from the Do Your Job Wrestling Hour chat. So I did want to ask you, have you done any radio shows in the past or any other type of work like this?
Yeah. This will be my fourth one. I love doing radio shows, man. I love, Ted DiBiase said it best in the Shawn Michaels DVD, which of course we keep coming back to Shawn Michaels, but nobody's gonna push you but you. So any chance I can get to talk wrestling and expose somebody that has never seen me or doesn't know who I am, I'll hop on the opportunity anytime. And just again, before I want to definitely thank you guys for having me on the show.
Thanks for coming on, man. It's been a great interview so far, I think.
Yeah, this has been one of our most fun interviews. People in our chat room are saying the same thing. I think also, when you have a guest on the show who not only, I think it's more than just talking wrestling. It's also the personality itself, and it's been a really great show. So we certainly thank you for being here with us here. And we just have just maybe a couple more questions here to kind of wrap things up. Old School, you got any other questions for Dad?
Well, I just wanted we were talking about the Hall of Fame a little bit beforehand. I wanted to know his thoughts on also the fact that it doesn't look like Arn Anderson is going to get inducted, and especially being in Atlanta and him being a Georgia guy. I just want to get his take on that.
I can't believe it. When all this first started going down, I said, this is great because we're going to get to see, I'm going to get, obviously Shawn, but I was like, they're going to induct Arn Anderson and they're going to induct Ron Simmons. And it doesn't look like either one of those guys are getting inducted. And no disrespect to Hacksaw, Jim Duggan, or Abdullah the Butcher, who here's rumored to also be inducted. But I just Ron Simmons is not to pull the race card, but Ron Simmons was the first black champion ever, and is from Warner Robins, and still lives in Georgia. Had a 20-something plus year career. Arn Anderson, I don't even need to go into anything with Arn Anderson. I don't understand. I really don't understand it. I really don't.
No, I certainly agree. And there's still a little bit of time left. The Hall of Fame class right now is pretty small, so I'm hoping that they'll include those guys because Arn Anderson. I was floored. Ron Simmons is another good point, but Arn Anderson especially, I'd be floored if he's not in. And
right.
Tony Blanchard, there's a couple guys that we're talking about that haven't been listed so far.
Yeah, and the only thing that I'm thinking maybe that they're wanting to just do a Horseman Hall of Fame at one time, and with Flair being in TNA now, that obviously they can't do that. Maybe that's what they're saving it for. But I'm like you, man. With it being in Georgia, I just can't. I can't fathom it. It's just it's crazy to me. It is what it is. Like I said, there's still a few more weeks, so they might hit us with a surprise, that last entry or whatever. So let's hope so.
Yeah, I hope so.
We have a segment on the show here that we do called the Do Your Jobber of the Week. We're going to do something a little bit different this time here. We're going to have, although this was not planned, we're going to have Dab Savage give us his favorite jobber of all time in just a second here.
Time for your Do Your Jobber of the Week.
It is time for the Do Your Jobber of the Week, but we're going to do it a little different. Dab, all time, who is your all-time favorite jobber?
That's a good question. And
put you on the spot.
You're gonna think I'm crazy. And the guy I met him in real life, he's a real fucking asshole. But Disco Inferno.
Disco Inferno. Yeah.
I just thought he was cool. I thought he had a cool gimmick. I thought he had a good look, but he was always a joke. And yeah, I'd say as far as he was my favorite. But I've met him a few times, and he's. I don't know. You would think he was like a 10-time world champion or something if you ever talked to him. Glenn Gilberti, if you're listening to this show, I think you're a douchebag.
I've never met him before, but I've seen him wrestle. I remember when he was in TNA back when they first started. He was in that whole sex faction that they had, and that was just terrible TV. Just kind of seeing how TNA started and seeing where they are now, the progress I don't think is very, very far. But at the same time, I think Disco Inferno, good call, guy. We never thought about him before as when we think of jobbers because there's always so many other guys like the Red Rooster and Barry Horowitz and guys like that. But yeah, that's a great pick there. So awesome, good stuff.
Pull out a random card, baby.
Yeah, you never know what to expect. So awesome stuff. So you got any upcoming shows or events you're going to be working the next couple of weeks?
Yeah. I'll be doing. I'm actually. I'm not wrestling, but next weekend they're doing a thing here in Albany called the Albany Wing Fest. There's a bunch of bands and a bunch of restaurants get together, a bunch of vendors and stuff, and I'm like I'm the guest MC for the show. I try to in my little town. I'm kind of like I'm not going to use the word celebrity, but I get out there and I push it down people's throats as much as possible. So I'll be doing we're doing some guests, some MCing, and also I play music. Growing up, I wanted to be I either wanted to be a pro wrestler or I wanted to be a rock star, and being a wrestler you get to kind of do both. So I think I'm going to sit in and maybe play some songs with one of my buddies' bands that's playing. So people might get to see another side of Dab Savage this weekend. I'll also be working DCW pretty much from here on out every other Saturday. So anybody in the Columbus area, check out the Facebook. It's Dynasty Championship Wrestling. They run every other week in Columbus, same spot. Some pretty good stuff going on there.
Do you have any personal Facebook, Twitter, anywhere people can find you and find out more about you?
Yeah, well, as a matter of fact, I do. I've got a Facebook page. That's a fan page. But I'm on there all the time, putting stupid comments and stuff. Just search Dab Savage, D-A-B Savage. You can't miss it. There'll be the guy with the leather pants strutting. And I'm new to this Twitter thing, and I really want to expand. I like Twitter, but it's hard to get people to follow you. So anybody out there in Twitter Nation, at Dab Savage, all caps, join the page. I'm hoping to get it rocking and rolling here too. So I'm putting together a website too. That should be ready in the next couple months. But I'll keep everybody posted that on the Facebook and Twitter pages.
Awesome, man. Well, definitely sounds like you've got quite the number of sites there for people to check out. And also, if you're a fan of the Do Your Job Wrestling Hour and you follow us, make sure you follow Dab Savage as well. So, and also on Facebook. Keep in touch, and you'll see what events he might be coming up, and if he's going to be wrestling in your area, or you live in the Georgia area or even in Alabama area, you might be able to see him in the ring. and work an awesome match. I did watch the match with.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying I did actually watch the match with you and Chase Stevens. If that's the one I'm thinking of that was posted on YouTube, is that the most the match you just wrestled with him?
Yeah, that was last weekend. So.
What it kind of reminded me of some of those matches back when Goldust did a lot of the whole comedy routine where you guys are kind of running back and forth out of the ring and doing stuff like that. There, it seemed like you guys had a pretty good little chemistry going on. So, any chance of you wrestling his former partner?
I don't know. I don't know what his partner's doing now. I know Chase he lives in Nashville and works a lot of feds up around the Nashville area. So he works with a guy Shane Williams that's pretty big in the same area too. So. I'd love to work with either one of those guys again. Just want to say too, I kind of went into the thing with Chase with sort of mixed feelings. I didn't really know much about the guy, but very, very professional. And like I said, I hope somewhere down the line, I hope we can definitely get in there. And he got the better of me last weekend, but Dab Savage doesn't lose twice in a row. So Chase Stevens, if you're listening, baby, I'm coming for you. I don't care if it's Nashville. I don't care if it's Georgia. I don't care if it's Washington, D.C. I'm Dab Savage, and you hadn't seen the last of me.
Don't forget Baltimore. Awesome. Old school. You got a final question here for Dab Savage.
Yeah, just last question. We'll get going on this note. Is there anything else? Any other matches? Anybody else you may have kind of on the back burner down the pike you want to get out there? Anybody else you want to talk to, or kind of have an open forum here? Anyone else you want to call out?
Yeah, there's a few guys. My former tag team partner, Johnny Romano, did a little bad mouthing of me when I decided to go on the singles bout. So, Johnny Romano, Heartthrob, if you want to put your money where your mouth is, you know where to find me. And DCW, I have a beautiful waist that would look a lot better with some championship gold around it. So just y'all, you boys are there, keep that in mind that I will be a DCW champion very, very soon. So enjoy your little moment of glory because it's fixing to be taken away from you.
I think Dab Savage should try out for the next Tough Enough. What do you think, Old School?
I think it'd be great. I gotta say, this has been a lot of fun, and I gotta tell you, you bring the charisma, so I think you'll do just fine for yourself.
Well, thank you, brother. I appreciate that. I really do.
Absolutely, and don't forget next week, Sunday, March 13th, our special guest on the show is Coastal Championship Wrestling, CCW, out of South Florida. The tag team champions, the Red Devil Fight Team, will be here. It's our first tag team interview. We're going to have both members of the Red Devil Fight Team live with us on the show. You don't want to miss it. That's next Sunday, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, March 13th. Dad, you want to do a little plug, a little drop for the Do Your Job Wrestling Hour?
Ladies and gentlemen, and all Do Your Job listeners, I just want you to know that you've had the pleasure of being graced with the YouTube sensation, the ladies' temptation, 217 pounds of rock hard steel and sex appeal, Dab Savage, baby.
We really do appreciate having you on the show, Dab. It's been a great interview, and hopefully in the future we can have you back on.
Sounds great, guys. I really enjoyed it, and we'll stay in touch.
Absolutely. Sounds good, everybody. Dab Savage on the Do Your Job Wrestling Hour. Take care, Dab. Great having you on the show tonight.
You too, guys. Remember, a little dab will do you, baby.
The Dab in the Air one will strike again.
That's right. You guys take care. Enjoy it. Have a good night.
You too. Take care. All right, that was Dab Savage on the Do Your Job Wrestling Hour on blogtalkradio.com/doyourjob. Old school, man. Definitely great interview, man.
Yeah, that was a great interview. I hope everybody listening enjoyed it. He's definitely a guy to keep your eye on. He's got the charisma, like I said. He's a lot of fun to talk to.
Yeah, absolutely. And hopefully we'll have him on again in the future, kind of see where his career goes. And the chat room's been hot all night long, bud. So a lot of good stuff happening, and I'm really excited about the show for next week with the CCW champs, the Red Devil Fight Team, and then the week after that we have former ECW original, the Enforcer, C.W. Anderson, will be on the show. So, Guy, the Do Your Job Wrestling Hour is the place to be.
It is. It's taken off. We've got like you said, we've got the Red Devil Fight Team coming up. We've got C.W. Anderson, and like we said a couple weeks ago, we've got a lot of names lined up that we can't release just yet, but we're working on a couple more big names.
Yeah, of course, Guy. We don't want to reveal all our secrets, but we do have some great upcoming shows on the horizon for our fans. And also, if you're a late bloomer, you want to check out some archive shows, you certainly can. They're all available on demand at blogtalkradio.com/doyourjob. Interviews with the one and only Gilbert, Axel Rotten, the Tokyo Monster, Cahagas, Original Recipe Matt Cage out of the Midwest. So you don't want to miss any of these past interviews.
No, you don't. I mean, like I said, there's been some great interviews. I think tonight was no exception. Make sure you check for the archives during the week. Follow us at twitter.com/doyourjob_between J.O.B. Follow Dab Savage as well, at Dab Savage. Keep your ear to the ground. We got a lot of good shows coming up.
Absolutely. A lot of great stuff from the Do Your Job Wrestling Hour. And, of course, we will continue our road to WrestleMania because, there's nothing more exciting than the most prestigious event in wrestling, and that is WrestleMania. So a lot of great stuff, And, of course, the Do Your Job Wrestling Hour will bring it to you live every week, give or take. We may take a week off for whatever reason, but we're usually here every week. If you have any feedback for the show, let us know. You can email us at the Do Your Job Wrestling Hour at yahoo.com. For Old School Avis Hathaway and me, the ConKaiserdor, we say goodnight. We'll see you next Sunday with the Red Devil Fight Team of CCW. Good night, everybody.